I'm trying to love you like you supposed to be.
DJ Khaled, it's Power. It's a Bill and Jessica show.
What's up? Good morning. It's going to be sunny today and bright. High of 72.
Well, she is on ABC News. She's been with ABC News for years and years. She's the wife of the famous Al Roker. She's famous herself, and she's the new co-anchor of ABC's 2020. She's been with 2020 for years and years and years. And now she's going to be the new co-anchor of the new season of ABC's 2020. We go live to the hotline right now. Deborah Roberts.
Hi, Deborah.
How are you?
Hey, good morning. Welcome to Bill and Jessica. Well, how are you this morning?
Oh, my gosh. I'm good. Great to be with you guys.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. First off, I got to say that when Al came back to work, very emotional moment.
Very emotional.
Fantastic. You are just wonderful. And, you know, we're just so happy for you and your family. That's the first thing we want to say.
We cried right along there with you.
Oh, thank you so much. I so appreciate that. That's been a few months back, and we are so happy the journey has been going very well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, of course, we're big fans of yours as well. 2020. Big season 46 coming up. I can't believe how long 2020's been on the air.
I know. Incredible.
Wow. I mean, that's
I know.
It's like a ritual.
And let me make it clear, I was not there from the very beginning.
Well, no. Right. Oh, no, they've had quite a few different hosts, but, you know, you're one of the best, of course. And, you know, you're there every week. So, again, season 46. Talk to us about it. You're the new co-anchor of the broadcast. You know, how's it feel to be part of, you know, such a award-winning show? And, you know, I mean, talk to us about season 46.
Well, it's first of all, it is just humbling, and I am so honored and just delighted. I mean, I've been with 2020 for 28 years, and I started off with Barbara and Hugh Downs and the full complement of correspondence that we had. I was the youngest one to join the group, and it was such a thrill, first of all, to just join this program and this historic program, to report from all over the world and to dig into all kinds of stories and meet all kinds of people. And, of course, over the years, we have evolved, and it's so hard for me to believe that here we are 46 years later, still going strong. Now we've kind of evolved into a true crime program, and so many people respond to it. Many times there are stories that are cold cases that were reinvigorated and mysteries were finally solved. And, you know, we're going to be doing a number of those stories this year. I'm working on a story right now about a couple of parents out in the Minnesota area who lost their son many years ago to a kidnapping, and they talk about their journey and what happened. And one of the first times, I think, in this country, our innocence was shaken with a child actually being abducted. So we just dig into so many stories, but more than anything else, we let you know the people. The stories of the lives of the people, and that's something that's central to what we've always done on 2020, and it's a thrill to still be doing it, and now to be doing it from a different perch, you know, the one that Barbara Walters occupied. It's really, really thrilling.
Everybody loves the true crime stuff. You look on like the most trending, you know, stories, and, you know, you look on the biggest podcasts. It's all about true crime, and, you know, people just love it, and you say that's what your show is pretty much focusing on, right?
Yeah, you know, and we have found that people are just intrigued by these mysteries. And sadly, you know, of course, it revolves around crime, but it's not always about the crime. It's about solving the crime. It's about the surveillance. It's about the police investigation. It's about the dogged, you know, mom or spouse who wouldn't give up and wanted to know what happened to their loved one. And more than anything else, I think, too, on 2022, we're jumping into these stories that you may not necessarily have heard more about, people who are kind of on the margins of society that maybe normally we didn't highlight their stories. So now you're going to hear about that one. I'm working on a story from Montclair, New Jersey, about a woman who, a young black woman who was this professional who was killed, and how this all played out. And, you know, that's a story you might not have heard about a few years back, but we're making sure we shine light on so many different stories, and you know, just it's a fascinating look. And as you said, number one program, we're number one news magazine. We have podcasts that people really like to come and hear our podcast. We have a true crime vault now that we're telling you about old stories.
Well, yeah, that was my
so much there.
That was my next question. ABC launching a 2020 True Crime Vault, podcast, and podcasting is huge now. So that's going to be, that's going to be huge.
Yeah, it is. I'm jumping into that too with a lot of the podcasts because people are really fascinated by podcasts. They want to listen to them on on their long drives, on their long walks. And so we're giving you more 2020 to listen to.
Nice. Peabody and Emmy award-winning journalist Deborah Roberts, live on the hotline, new season of 2020. You're a new co-anchor on the show. You know, you've been with the show for years, and now you're coming back as a role with this co-anchor. You know, we're so happy for you and excited. Now, I know you've been with ABC, you know, for years and years, nearly 30 years at ABC. Who are, just real quick, just for my enjoyment, I've seen some of the people you've interviewed. Who is been your favorite, your most intriguing interview and person that you've ever done? I think I have a guess.
Like most memorable?
Yeah, most memorable. I think I have a guess, but who would you say, just put it over the top?
You know what? I want to know who you're thinking, because I got to tell you, I have sat across from convicted murderers in jails and prison cells, and I've interviewed First Lady Michelle Obama, First Daughter Ivanka Trump. I mean, I have interviewed so many different names, and it's really hard to just say this was the favorite, because oftentimes it's the person that who's not really famous, but who just had such an amazing story to tell that maybe moved me practically to tears hearing them talk about enduring something. I want to know who you think my favorite is.
I was going to say
somebody I'm going blank on.
I was going to say the Obamas. That's what I was going to say, because that would have been mine, hands down.
Yeah, Michelle Obama.
Yeah.
It was certainly memorable. Yeah, because it was just before her husband was elected, and I think at that point when she and I sat down, there was still just this beginning of a swell of interest that maybe this guy might win the presidency. He was the first black to rise that far. And I remember just thinking, wow, she's pretty impressive and he's pretty amazing. Maybe he might win this thing. But I also interviewed, when in the world of politics, not that it's my beat, but I interviewed George Bush back in the day. I interviewed Al Gore back in the day. So I've had an opportunity to delve into the world of politics, and that was really fascinating, because that was one, of course, for the record books, right?
No, absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely. Also, you have, some books. You did a book a while back with your husband, Al. Been there, done that.
Well, actually, I did that book with Al a few years back. My book, I just wrote a book about teachers. It's called, about basically an collection of essays from folks about their favorite teacher who changed their lives. It's called Lessons Learned and Cherished, The Teacher Who Changed My Life, New York Times bestseller.
Nice.
And I just have, Oprah Winfrey is in the book, and Misty Copeland, and Brooke Shields, and Lucy Liu, just so many people talking about how a teacher just lit
Changed
something
their
in
life.
them. And I'm so excited about that book. It came out earlier in the spring, and we're still going strong with it.
Deborah Roberts, new co-anchor of 2020. It's been so delightful to have you on the air. If people want to follow you, they want to look up maybe more info on 2020 and everything you got going on as well, how can they do that?
Well, they can go on social media, because I have an Instagram presence. 2020 has a presence on X, which used to be called Twitter, so you can find ABC 2020 on there, ABC News. We're all over social media talking about the programming that we're doing, so you can find us there. And, of course, our podcast. Anywhere you get your podcast, you can find the 2020 podcast as well. So look for us, and don't forget, Friday night, 9 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 8 p.m. Central.
Yes, absolutely. Deborah Roberts, thank you so much for checking in. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Happy to be here. Nice talking with you both.